You're listening to WITH Ithaca 90.1 FM, online withradio.org, and WRUR 88.5 in Rochester, WRUR.org. Different radio. My name's Tracey Craig, and this is Rutabaga Boogie, the second hour of the show featuring live music in the studio with some of the bohemian characters who live in or happen to be passing through Ithaca. Mostly musicians, but also artists and writers and other folks whose creative output involves music some way. Our guest this hour, songwriter Marc Berger. Marc is from New York City. He lives here in Ithaca part-time. But one of his great passions is exploring remote areas of the desert and mountain west. And his other passion, well, that's creating and recording Americana-style roots music. Marc signed his first publishing contract back when he was in law school, found himself fronting a couple of different rock bands, playing places like the Knitting Factory and CBGB and Wetlands and other New York City clubs. He's performed at the Kerrville Folk Fest, at South by Southwest, out in Austin. He's opened shows for Bob Dylan and other national acts. And one of his songs, something called The Last One, has been performed by Richie Havens at anti-nuclear rallies in the U.S. and Europe. The last couple of years, Marc has been working on a concept album inspired by his obsession with the American West. It's called Ride. We're going to sample a couple tracks from his forthcoming release, and we're going to get some live music in the studio, too, because Marc has brought his band. Welcome. Can you tell me just a little bit about how you got started creating the songs that ended up on this new album?
At a certain point, I kind of looked at the culture and the artistic culture of the American West, whether painting or literature or film, and I just didn't really, or at least I wasn't aware of any kind of song tradition that quite reaches the level that those artistic media do in expressing the whole powerful romantic myth of the West, you know? And so, given the fact that I had a real strong feeling, and since I was in my early 20s, you know, found myself, whenever I had free time, trying to get out into the West and find more and more interesting and more remote places to be in it. I loved just pretty much everything about it, you know, and I was a songwriter. You know, I just got the idea of putting together a concept album where all the songs, at least apparently, deal with that subject in one way or another.
Well, I tell you what, how about we listen to a track and then talk a little bit more about the specifics of it? What track should we listen to first, Marc?
Feel free to play the opening track. It's called Nobody Gonna Ride on the Railroad.
Nobody gonna ride on the railroad. Went down just to town and he just said goodbye. Nobody gonna ride on the railroad. Once proud and shiny, now she's dusty and dry. Nobody rides, can't you hear? Soulful whistling in the wind. Nobody rides, jump the rails and roared away round the bend. Nobody rides, say a prayer, every soul along the line. Nobody rides on the train, maybe it's a great land of mine. But he gonna dance to the music. Gonna call the union hall, it's boarded up tight. Nobody gonna dance to the music. Nobody gonna dance to the music tonight. Nobody rides, but you hear soulful whistling in the wind. Nobody rides, jump the rails and roared away round the bend. Nobody rides, say a prayer, every soul along the line. Nobody rides on the train, maybe it's a great land of mine. Hold on, dear old dad of mine, worked his fingers down to the bone. Hold on, mama, don't you cry. take you with me, I even know where to go. Hold on, dear old dad of mine worked his fingers down to the bone. Hold on, mama, don't you cry. I'll take you with me, I even know where to go. Nobody gonna walk on the water. Just sold my Bible for a good piece of bread. Nobody gonna walk on the water. Big train stole away, left us for dead. Nobody rides, can't you hear that soulful whistling in the wind? Nobody rides, jump the rails, roll away round the bend. Nobody rides, say a prayer, every soul along the line. Nobody rides on the train, made this great land mine. Nobody rides. Chestertown when they just said goodbye. Nobody gonna ride on the railroad. Once proud and shining out, she's dusty and dry.
Nobody Gonna Ride on the Railroad from Marc Berger's new album, Ride. It's a whole set of songs about the American West. It's a place that certainly has become an icon for everything American. You think of all those images of the American cowboy and all those great wide open spaces. I have to say, the first question I have for you, Marc, is how does a kid who grew up in New York City end up falling in love with the West? What made you decide to head out there the first time and go exploring?
It was kind of like just, on a whim. I had a friend who was he was a Christian Arab from Israel. And I don't know, we just decided to get in a car and take a Western trip. Neither of us had ever been out there. And we had no clue. We just didn't understand the size of the landscape. And so this first trip we drove out there and, we pretty much treated the West in that first trip like a Milton Bradley game. We got to the Grand Canyon. There was no campsites. Okay, let's go to Yosemite. It was like that, I really had no idea what was in store for me. You can see pictures of something, but the scale of things was so different than anything I had ever experienced.
I remember my first trip out west and what it was like at night going out and seeing the stars. The sky is just, it's a whole character in this movie that you're in. It sort of feels cinematic somehow. When I first encountered the West, I felt like I was in a movie. I don't know that I can explain that feeling. Why don't we do this? We've got the whole band here, and what we're going to do is hear some more of the songs that have ended up on this new album called Ride. You brought along a great band with you today. We've got Harry Aceto over here on the bass. We've got Rich DePaolo on guitar. And on drums, your partner in this whole project, Mike Riciardi. We're going to talk more about the making of the album, but how about we get some live music?
Sure, let's do it.